Okay. Good evening, everyone. I hope you have had a fabulous day. If I can get you to mute your phones, if I can get, let's see, who's that? Mr. Jordan B. Betsy, if you can mute your phone for me, mute your phone so that we can cancel out. Oh my goodness, just a moment. I have some feedback, so give me just a moment.
Oh no, Miss Gloria, I don't think we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Miss Calhoun, you're muted and we can't hear you.
Oh no, you guys, I don't think she can hear us either.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay, let me chat her really quickly.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, hopefully. All right, okay, so hi everyone, can everyone hear me okay? If you can just put a thumbs up and as your reaction, that will let me know that you guys can hear me, okay? Awesome. So, well, thank you guys so much for being here. Ms. Calhoun, unfortunately, we missed what you said. Hopefully you can get your audio back on, but I will go ahead, y'all, since we're here, and I will go ahead and make sure to start my presentation and tell you guys all about Columbus State University. My name is Nam, and I am one of our admissions counselors here at CSU. So if you haven't heard about CSU yet, we are a four-year regional university in the state of Georgia, specifically Columbus, Georgia. So in a couple of seconds, you guys are going to see my screen so that you guys can watch this presentation that I have. And I will make sure to leave some time, y'all, at the very end to answer any questions that you guys have as well. All right. So one of the first things that I do want to talk about is this message of create you. At CSU, we really want to encourage our students to not only think about who they want to become in their 4 years at Columbus when they're a student with us, think about it, but we also want to empower them to create that person, right? So a lot of students, when we ask them, who do you want to create? They will say, oh, I really want to be a leader in my community, or I want to be the best in my career field. I want to be an entrepreneur. So whatever that means for you, we hope that you can do that at Columbus State. So think about all the ways that you can create yourself at CSU. Now, I want to share our pillars with you guys because a lot of schools have beliefs that things that they believe in, and these are the things that we believe in. So when times get tough, as it was these past 2 years with the pandemic, these are the things that keep us going. So just wanted to include these 6 pillars on here to let you guys know a little bit more about what we believe in, what we stand for as an institution. And these are the things that we do really well. So these are the things that we pride ourselves in and that we hope to provide to our students. So cultivating creativity. Again, you're going to hear the word create a lot because we are a really creative school, not even just talking about, your creative majors like theater, art, but just generally, I think our students are, encouraged to think outside of the box a lot, especially with what happened these last 2 years with the pandemic. So we really want our students to be those thinkers who think outside of the box, because we know from talking to employers, they want to hire students who are outside thinkers, who are creative thinkers and analytical thinkers. So that's what we really want our students to develop. And then we also want to help our students to, inspire collaboration, because I like to say you don't have to do college alone, and you shouldn't have to. And at Columbus State, we have faculty members, staff members, your fellow students are cheering you on and, wanting you to succeed. So why not take the time and get to know each other and collaborate on, on school stuff, on club stuff, on, things that, that are happening on campus. So that's what we really want to do. And then we also want to help our students to reimagine their education. So really whatever that means for you as an individual student, right? So of course we have academic advisors who will help you, take the classes or register for the classes that you need in order for your degree. But for some students, it may mean to reimagine their education to go study abroad, right? For some students, it may mean taking summer classes so that they can graduate a semester or even a year early. And for other students, it may mean adding on a minor because they're just interested in history and they want to take more history classes, something like that, right? So whatever it is for you, however you want to reimagine your education, we hope to be able to do that at CSU for our students. And then we also want to help our students to expand worlds, because we know that, the line for the world does not end in Columbus, right? Because there's a whole other world out there for you to explore. So we really do encourage students to go study abroad or to travel and get to meet people. And so when they do come back to campus, our students are, world travelers, and they can bring those experiences back to campus, which I think is a really, really cool benefit that we have. Now, just some quick facts about you guys, if you aren't too familiar with Columbus State. We do have 2 campuses that our students get to use every single day. So I would say out of the unique things that you get to experience as a CSU student, this would be one of the most unique aspects of being a CSU student, is that you have 2 campuses that you can take classes on. You can, stay in the dorm on one campus. There's a shuttle that takes you to the other campus, and you can be on both campuses every single day, which I think is really cool. But we're not too big, not too small, with about 8,300 students enrolled for fall 2020. So, I mean, it makes us, not too big, not too small. So you can really meet someone new every single day if you wanted to. But for your first year classes, you're probably going to see a lot of familiar faces. So it's easier to make friends and make those connections first year. And I can tell from experience, I met my best friend in my first year of college, and we are still really, really good friends. So that's just kind of the size that you'll benefit from being at a smaller school but still bigger school. And we do have a lot of undergraduate majors and minors for students to choose from. And for us, is a little bit less than $9,000 a semester to, for tuition, for housing, for meal plans, and for fees. So I do have a breakdown of all the costs a little bit later on, so that you guys can see exactly line by line how much each costs. So we have a ton of different majors at Columbus State, and how we split them up is into different schools that specialize in certain areas or in certain subjects. So we have the College of the Arts. If you are wanting to be a theater major, an art major, a music major, or a communication major, this is the college for you. Our College of the Arts is awesome. We have the best facilities for students. We have a ton of different resources for students in the College of the Arts. And then we also have our College of Education and Health Professions. So 2 majors that really stick out in this college, y'all, is nursing. Nursing is always really popular. And then we also have education. So if you're wanting to be a teacher, this is going to be the college for you. And you can be a middle school teacher, elementary school teacher. You could even want to teach high school and, a certain topic. We can help provide that experience for you. And then we also have our College of Letters and Sciences. And this one I would say is our largest in terms of population, because this houses a lot of our popular majors like biology, chemistry, psychology, criminal justice is really popular as well. We also have English and history, earth and space science, all in the College of Letters and Sciences. And then of course we have our Turner College of Business. So if I have any students in the room who are interested in being like an entrepreneur or in being business management or working in finance or accounting or marketing, this is going to be the college for you, the Turner College of Business. So I mentioned just some of our majors, but we do have a website that lists all of our majors and it lists all of the classes for each major as well. So if there's a major that you are particularly interested in and you kind of just want to see the education roadmap, like the class roadmap for that particular major, you can find that easily by, Googling Columbus State or going onto our website. Now, I mentioned earlier that we do have 2 campuses. So I want to kind of differentiate between the 2 of them and how our students use them for you guys really quickly. So our main campus is in Midtown Columbus. Now, Midtown Columbus is kind of like, I call it the shopping hub of Columbus. There's a mall that's across the street from our main campus, and we have just a lot of like entertainment and shops there. So, but main campus is more of like your traditional college campus. The minute that you step foot on our main campus, it will feel like you're on a college campus because the buildings look similar. There's a lot of trees and green grass and everything is really walkable. And of course, you'll see our name everywhere. So you will really feel like, okay, this is my college campus. And on the main campus, we do have our student service center. So a lot of the student services are going to be in there, like counseling, your career center is in there, study abroad if you wanted to go study abroad. And then we also have our recreation center, and our recreation center is free for students to use. There's a pool area, there's a rock climbing wall, there's like a track, an indoor track, and there's also group fitness classes as well if you wanted to do that. And then we have our iconic clock tower, you guys, because the clock tower was really like constructed the year that Columbus came to be, or Columbus State University came to be. So it's a really historic clock tower and we really love it. But on the main campus, we house 2 of the colleges. We house the College of the Letters and Sciences, and we also house the Turner College of Business. So if you have a major in one of those 2 colleges, you'll probably spend a lot of your time on main campus. But that doesn't mean that you can't take advantage of our River Park campus either, because the River Park campus houses the College of the Arts and it houses the College of Education and Health Professions. But the River Park campus is in the heart of Uptown Columbus, or it's like in our downtown area. So it has more of a city feel, and it's right on the Chattahoochee River, as you guys can see from one of those pictures. So there's a lot of like outdoors activities that students can do, but it's really like the hub of the arts. So there's a huge art scene in Columbus, and the River Park campus is where our theater students perform, art students have, their displays and things like that. So this is the River Park campus is really like where the art center is of the city of Columbus. And it's but it's still really walkable. And I think one of the unique things about Columbus is that it is a larger city, but it feels like a small town. So, students on our River Park campus, they'll feel safe to like walk from class to class, use the shops down in the downtown area. So it's really awesome. And we do have a shuttle that takes students to and from. So the shuttle runs every single day, morning till night, and it takes students, you could literally just hop on and there's Wi-Fi in it. So let's say you are just wanting to finish up an assignment before you get to the next campus, then you can just hop on, finish your assignment, and then 20 minutes later be on the different campus, right? So it's free for students to use the shuttle. So like I said, it's pretty convenient because you can just hop on the shuttle and then hop off at your destination. So we try to make both campuses really accessible for our students. Okay, so these are the highlights that I do want to share. We have the first cybersecurity range in the state of Georgia. If you guys have been keeping up with the news, even in the last week or so or month, There's a ton of like, unfortunately, hacks of companies that are going on. So cybersecurity is really, really like a field that is growing. And we are just so excited to offer this to our students as the first cybersecurity range. So students will do like, hacks or, try to do hacks and things like that. That's where they learn hands-on. That is really where they can kind of figure out like the holes in a certain program as a part of their class. So first cybersecurity range in the state of Georgia, meaning our students are getting that hands-on experience that is so necessary for that field. And then I mentioned earlier, we have a ton of opportunities for if you want to become an educator. We have our students have an agreement with Muskogee County School District, which is the county that Columbus is in. So for any of our students who graduate with an education degree, and of course they pass their exams after they graduate, they are guaranteed a contract to be a teacher in Muskogee County if they want to take it up. So it's pretty much like a guaranteed job. We actually just had a student who graduated recently, and she's going to be a third grade teacher in Muskogee County. And I think that's really cool because when, she's in her program, when she was a student at CSU, she actually did student teaching in Muskogee County. So it's like kind of, going back, and she's comfortable with the system already, which I think is really cool. And then we also have a competitive pre-med program for any of my students who are interested in, potentially or eventually going to medical school. The pre-med program, the competitive pre-med program, is pretty competitive to get into, but it does help you to be as competitive as possible of an applicant for when you do apply to medical school. And you can see our success rate right there. We also have our nursing program is consistently ranked in the top 10 in Georgia, very hands-on. Our computer science students, when everything went virtual last year, they actually replicated our main campus for a program that we were hosting that had to go virtual in Minecraft. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then in the state of Georgia, we have the only conservatory model of music. So you are learning directly from your faculty artist members, and those lessons that you're taking with them will count for your degree. So it's, these are just some highlights that I like to share, but we definitely have a lot of high achieving graduates and a lot of high achieving students in the program. So student life, of course, is huge because a part of being a college student or going to college is that you're not just going to class and coming home every day, right? There's so many offerings for you to be involved. And I will say, like, this is a tip that I have for a lot of students who are going to college, is that whenever you see an older person and they're still wearing, their school's cap, or they're still wearing their school's, like their college's shirt, and they're always, representing their school, well, it's because those people bought into the school and they were super involved, and they felt like a part of it, and then it became a part of them. So student life is how you can do that and make the most out of your college experience. So we do have over 100 student clubs that students can join and participate in. We also have Greek life if you are interested in joining a fraternity or a sorority. We have sports at all different levels. So varsity sports are, sports, and if there's like a basketball game that's going on or a baseball game that's going on campus, our students get to watch them for free. So that's pretty cool. But we also have club sports, as well as intramural sports. So intramural sports is just where you play for fun with other CSU students. And we have a program called Servant Leadership, y'all. So Servant Leadership is it's a scholarship program. There's a special application that you apply to, but the Servant Leadership program really develops the students throughout their 4 years at Columbus State to become leaders, but to become servant leaders. So those who, have their communities, priorities at their forefront of their mind, they're always thinking about how they can be of service to others. So I really like that program. And then we also have a ton of student traditions: Cougar Kickoff, Homecoming, Pancakes with the Presidents. They're all just really fun traditions that we have on campus that happen yearly. So you can always expect them every single year. Now, we do require our students to live on campus for their first year. So if you do not live in the immediate Columbus area, you should expect to live on campus your first year. It is a requirement. but our dorms are really nice. So on our main campus, we have what we call Clearview Hall. So Clearview Hall is about 5 to 6 years old. It's fairly new, and it's suite style. So in a suite, there are 4 students, but in the suite itself, it's split into 2 bedrooms and 2 restrooms. And in each bedroom are 2 students. So you will have to share a bedroom with another student. But here's the nice thing, we don't have any communal restrooms. So your roommate who you're sharing a bedroom with, you're also just sharing a restroom with that person, right? So that provides our students with a little bit more comfort, I think. Of course, there's also like free laundry, there's like study rooms, there's like hangout spaces for students to meet and bond. And then we also have on our River Park campus, we have Broadway Crossing. It's still suite style, so there's still 2 students to a bedroom, still sharing a restroom. But as you guys can see, it at River Park campus has more of a city feel. So that is the building of River Park, that beautiful like brick building right there. So students occupy the second, third, and fourth floors of that building. But the difference here, y'all, is that in River Park, there is a fully functioning kitchen and a living area that the students in the suite share as well. So, yeah, but lots of different and awesome options for you to choose from. Now, I do want to introduce you to Columbus, Georgia, just a little bit because this is where the backdrop of our college is. We are the 2nd largest city in the state of Georgia by population, and it's only an hour-and-a-half drive from the heart of Atlanta. So it's really not too far from Atlanta. We're actually right on the border with Alabama, but really it depends on where you are in the city, but once you get past, once you get past the airport, it's a smooth drive after that to CSU. So. All right, and then I do want to talk about our application for just a little bit. Now, we do have our application online, so you want to submit your application online. You can do it through Georgia Futures. You can go onto our website, and we'll direct you to where you need to go. There's always there's a $40 fee unless we are in a special like period right now where it's like apply for free period. So you can apply for free and submit your application for free. But for the fall semester, we always have a deadline of June 30th. So I wouldn't wait that long. So for instance, if you are hoping to start fall 2021, then you have until June 30th. So essentially at the end of this month to submit your application. You still have time to do that if you want to, but if I have any younger students who are like rising seniors, rising, juniors, then you do want to make sure you keep, you stay on top of it and submit your application as soon as you can. But we also require your official transcript, so you can send that through Georgia Futures or Parchment, any of the electronic delivery services that there are, and you can also mail it in as well. So that would take a little bit longer, but so we prefer the electronic version. And official test scores. So we do need those score reports directly from SAT or ACT. Now I do have 2 like kind of stars or disclaimers down there. SAT and ACT scores are not required for students who are entering fall 2021. So students who are starting this August, not required, but they are required for students who are applying for spring 2022 or later on. So we suspended the requirement for SAT and ACT because of the pandemic. The tests kept getting canceled. And so now we've been told by the university system that we need to reinstate that requirement. So for spring 2022, that requirement will be back on, meaning that you do have to submit SAT and ACT scores as a part of your application. And then, I mentioned what you guys need to submit, but these are the things that we look for when we get your test score, your transcript. We look at your core GPA. It has to be a 2.5. Your core GPA is just your academic GPA. So like your academic classes, English, social sciences, science, your math, your foreign languages and things like that. And then these are the SAT requirements. Don't worry about memorizing these. We have them listed on our website. But essentially, when you're taking the SAT, we want to see a 480 on the evidence-based reading and writing section and a 440 on the math, at least. And then the ACT requirements, a 17 English or a 17 reading, and also a 17 math. And then just these disclaimers for you guys again here. Test scores not required for fall 2021, but they are required for spring 22 and onward. So I mentioned earlier that our costs are a little bit less than $9,000 a semester. You can kind of see like the breakdown of what, our costs are. So you can see tuition, fees, housing, and meal plan. And it's kind of just like the breakdown of the cost. And this is going to be a per semester kind of deal. So this is per semester less than $9,000. Now, I know some students will aim for Hope, will aim for Zell Miller, or will aim to get other scholarships. And that is awesome because the more scholarship money that you have, the less, you'll have to worry about in terms of like paying out of pocket or something like that. So I would definitely encourage you guys to get as much free scholarship money as you can, because that can really, really help. All right, so I would love for you guys to come and visit campus. We do have virtual and in-person options for you. So of course, virtual is really easy. You can just go onto our website and you can find it. And there's actually like a, like a tour that you can go on. And we have information sessions, which we've recorded for you. But I would really encourage you guys to actually visit in person if you are able to. We do have tours of our main campus on, Mondays to Fridays at 10 a.m. And then we also have a twilight tour once a month. So if you can't make it in the morning, then you can make it to a twilight tour. Hopefully you can make it to a twilight tour in the evening. And then we also have our River Park campus tours happening Monday through Fridays at 2 p.m. So in the afternoon. And then if you can't make it on a weekday, that's okay, because we do have a Saturday tour of our River Park campus as well. And we do host a virtual information session twice a week at 12 p.m. So we would love for you guys to follow our, our social media accounts. You guys definitely follow us. We try to post a lot and keep up to date with everything. But that is actually it for me. So thank you y'all so much for listening to me. And I hope that you guys learned a little bit more about Columbus State. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now so that we can take questions. Does anyone have any questions? And if you're shy and you don't want to, say it out loud or mute yourself, I can also monitor the chat as well if you want to put your questions in.
What can I expect in terms of health safety on your campus? Especially including like that, that a lot of colleges are including vaccines now.
That's a really good question. So we're a part of the University System of Georgia, and what the university system has told us is that the COVID-19 vaccine is not required for students to be on campus, but it is highly encouraged. So I encourage you to do with that information what you need to do. But in terms of like safety, we are a blue light campus, which means that there are various like blue lights, like emergency poles and stations with buttons. So if you ever felt like you are in danger when you're walking alone on campus or something like that, then you can just hit the blue light and a police officer, will respond to you. And we do have our own police officers on campus, but we also have, the Columbus area police office like departments as well. And I would say too, if you are worry about safety in the dorms, then we do kind of have like a 3-step check system. So not everyone can get into the dorm, right? You have to swipe your card to be able to get into the building, and then you have to swipe your card to get into your hall that you're living in, and then one more time to get into your bedroom. So we try to put a lot of safety gates out there for students to feel comfortable, because we recognize that is a huge part of being away from home, but and being on your own and things like that. So that's a great question, Jalen. Miss Calhoun, I can't hear you. No.
What about now? Can you?
Yes, right now, yes.
Okay, okay, it's in my settings or something. So I
Oh,
apologize. So maybe
you're
I'll give you
fine.
guys my spiel afterwards. No, I won't. I won't trouble you. But I have a quick question regarding living on campus. You mentioned about dorms. How are roommates selected? Did you cover that at
No, I
all?
didn't. That's a good question though. So we actually give our students full power to select whoever they want to room with. So if you know someone that you're going into Columbus with, like let's say I have actually two students who are going in and they already know they want to room with each other. So they will select each other to be roommates. If you don't know who you want to room with, though, we do have a roommate matching quiz that you can take. So it asks questions like, okay, how cold do you like the room? Do you like to study in your bedroom or do you like to study elsewhere? Are you a late studier? Are you an early riser? So it kind of just matches you on your compatibility. But based on how you answer that survey, we will send you a list of students who have an 85% match to your living style, and you can reach out to them and you can kind of, then you start interviewing them and seeing if you want to actually room with that person or those people. And then if you don't select a roommate, though, we will assign you a roommate. So, but we try to give students as much power as we can in that process.
And this is a question that I've heard a lot of students. This is a concern about the dorm. Can you bring your own mini fridge and microwave? What type of appliances? What can you bring into your dorm?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we do allow students to have a mini fridge. There's a really cute little area and on our main campus where you can bring a mini fridge. Now, if you're living on River Park campus, I mentioned earlier, we do have a fully functioning kitchen, so you wouldn't need to bring your own appliances. But if you are on our main campus, you can bring a mini fridge, you can bring a microwave. I have some students who ask about like how big of a TV can I bring? And that's a concern. I love it. And so yeah, but you can bring your TV. The only thing I would say though, y'all, is you do want to connect with your roommate after you've decided who you want to room with and determine who is bringing what big appliance, because you don't need to, two mini fridges in your area. So we try to encourage students to just have one mini fridge that they share with their roommate and one microwave. Yeah.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Is it easy to get around campus without a car? And if not, like what transportation options are available?
Yeah, it's really easy to get around campus. So if you are, walking from your dorm to your class, then either on main campus or on River Park campus, you can walk like on both campuses. Maybe from one end to the other end. If you want to walk, it maybe takes like 10 to 15 minutes to walk both campuses from end to end. Now, the two campuses are separated though by a 15-minute drive. So that's why we have that shuttle. But on an everyday basis, you wouldn't need a car really. You could just walk everywhere. You're going to be doing a lot of walking in college. But yeah, but we do have, because we are a larger city, we do have our own, like, the city has its own like bus system. And of course we have like Uber and Lyft and all of the rideshare services as well. But I do want to add, if you do want to bring your own car, it's $45 for a permit for the entire year. So, if you are able to bring your own car, you want to bring your own car, you can definitely do that even as a freshman, because I know that's a concern for some students. So.
Another big question that a lot of my students have had in the past is, of course, food. How's the food on campus?
The food is good. No, the food is really, really good. We ask our students who are living on campus to be on an all access meal plan. So on our main campus, we have our like big dining hall. We call it the Cougar Calf. So the Cougar Calf has a bunch of different stations in there. You can always find pizza. You can always find burgers. There's a salad station, sandwich station. There's a hibachi grill, and then there's like a grill that changes the menu every single day. So they try to do really fun menus because like around, Thanksgiving time, they'll try to offer turkey and stuffing, like your comfort food. And so that's on main campus. There's also a Chick-fil-A. There's also a Subway on our main campus, and there's also an Einstein Bagel on main campus as well. On River Park campus, I mentioned that it has more of a city feel. So we do have a dining option for students down there. We have a Rankin Den, which is a dining hall on River Park campus. But we also have a lot of local restaurants that are in walkable distance from our dorms or from our classes that students can take advantage of. So there's, a ton of there's a pizza place, there's a hibachi place, there's a Thai place. And I like to say too, all of the chain restaurants that are in Atlanta, we also have in Columbus as well. So lots of good food and dining options.
And for our athletes, what is the athletic recruitment process like? Is there a certain person that they need to contact? What's that like?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we do have an athlete interest form. So if you are hoping to play in any of our Division II sports, you can find that athlete interest form. You fill in your information. There's a spot for you if you have any like YouTube videos of like your highlights or something like that. You can include it in that form. And if our coaches are interested in you, they'll reach back out to you directly. But you can also find our coaches' information on our athletic website as well. And you can reach out to them as well through that. That's a good question. And so I would encourage for my athletes to, kind of reach out and fill out that athletic interest form or the athlete interest form, maybe in your junior year, so you can have some time to build that relationship with the coach.
And then I had a text message of about dorms. Another question about dorms. Is it guaranteed? I know there are some schools that there may be a wait list or they're completely full, and I know they're having to defer some things. How is that? What's that process like for you guys?
Yeah, so it is a requirement for our first year students. So for our first year students, we will have a space for you on campus. So as we're making it a requirement, we want to also make sure that we have the accommodations for you. So we will have the space for you on campus for that. And Elliot, what kind of dorm choices are there? So we have the suite style dorms that I mentioned in my in my presentation. But if you are still looking to stay in the dorm in your second or third or fourth year, then we actually have then apartment style dorms, which means that you get your own private bedroom and you only have to share a restroom with another student. So it's more like apartment living after that. But that's a good question. For our first year students, we only have suite style dorms that I mentioned in the presentation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's a great question.
Are there any other questions for Nam today?
I have a question.
Sure, what is it?
It's based on the athletic topic. What sports do you guys actually have?
Yeah, so we have, I would say some of our more popular sports, basketball, men and women's basketball. We have golf. Our baseball, we're conference champions. So the men's baseball team, we're conference champions. And we have women's soccer. We have, let's see, we have tennis as well. We have cross country. We have track and field as well. So a lot of different sports that you can choose from. Are you looking for a particular sport?
I was just asking to see if there was like men's soccer, but
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have men's soccer at the Division II level, but that's a really great question. Yeah.
What about for our cheerleaders?
We do actually. Yes, they're considered spirit athletes. So we have cheerleading and dance as well. And if you are looking to do cheerleading, there's also like they have a really awesome Instagram account. So they will post like audition dates and things like that. And it's also scholarship eligible if you were interested in doing cheerleading.
And cheerleaders would also have to do the athletic recruitment form.
They should, yes. And this is kind of like out there, but we also have some esports teams. So they're technically under the Office of Student Life, but if you are interested in playing esports, we have two teams. One plays League of Legends and the other plays Overwatch. And in our inaugural season of our Overwatch team, they were actually conference champions. They went undefeated. And so, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Like, I am not a gamer. I don't know how any of it works, but I thought that was pretty cool that we were able to have our inaugural team kind of just go undefeated and have such a good season, their first season.
And there are scholarships for that?
There's possibly, yes. Yeah.
Good to know.
Isn't that awesome?
That is.
Yeah.
My final question is for students who had an IEP or a 504 plan in high school. How does that work if they IEP or 504 plan?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for those students, after you've been accepted and you decide that you want to attend CSU, what you want to do, the next step that you want to do before your semester starts. So for instance, if you were attending in the fall, then we do have an Office of Accommodations, and you will reach out to them. They will ask for the necessary documents, and they're going to act as like your liaison on campus. And so if that means providing extra, time to take your test, whatever accommodations that they can provide based on your IEP or 504 plan, they'll be able to do that and help you through that process.
Thank you.
You're welcome. These are all great questions, y'all.
Are there any other questions before we end our session with Columbus State? We're about to get back on the bus and head to Augusta in just a moment. So any other questions while we're in Columbus?
Can you just speak to the financial aid and when students should apply to financial aid, and just speak to that process?
Such a great question. So financial aid for the next academic year always opens up on October 1. So in October 1 is when you want to fill out your FAFSA. And I like to say that with FAFSA, there's like a big pot of money at the very beginning, and then it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So financial aid, you want to get that done as soon as possible. For us, we try to get those award notifications or letters out as soon as we receive, as soon as the student is accepted, and as soon as we receive their FAFSA report. So for us, really, students can start receiving, their award letter as soon as December, which is really nice, and that helps a lot for planning. But we do have a financial aid TV resource with a bunch of on-demand videos that you can watch. Our financial aid website has they do a pretty good job of accommodating meetings and calls with students and parents about answering financial aid questions. So you can always use that. But anything with financial aid, the sooner the better, is what I like to say with anything concerning financial aid or payments to the school and stuff like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's a great question.
All right, I am going to put in the chat box Columbus State's web address. And if you notice on NAM's screen, there is a QR code. If you take your phone, if you have your phone and you have the camera option or the scanner option, you can hold that up to her red box, and that will schedule a time for you to or give you the option to talk to her. So if you have any additional questions after we end our session with her, if you take a second now and just point your camera at the red QR scanner, it'll give you her availability.
Love it.
And the website is www.columbusstate.edu. Did I say that correctly?
That's correct.
Perfect.
Yes. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. You guys asked so many questions, and I loved it. I really enjoyed this, and I hope you guys have fun on your next stop.
Okay, don't get off the bus yet.
No.
What we will do, if so, Nam, if you want to go ahead and disconnect. Thank you so much. I'll be in touch with you after probably later on today or tomorrow. So thank you for taking your time to come and speak to us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. If for those of you who are here, if you want to take a quick bathroom break, we are about to admit our Augusta State University admissions representative. So if you want to take just a quick bio break and then come right back, we'll be ready to listen to Augusta University.
Hello.
Hi, Shireen. We're actually taking like a 2-minute bio break and then we will be ready to hear your presentation.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Has everyone else been fully sharing their screen?
Yes, I have given you the share screen capability, so you should be able to do that now.
Gonna work on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that look okay?
Yes, looks good.
Okay.
All right, so we are back. And we are back on the bus, and we are now at Augusta University. And we are so excited. We've just left Columbus, and wasn't that quick? Wasn't that a quick trip? The quick trip. We didn't have to stop and get gas or anything. So, what we're going to do now, we're going to turn it over to Ms. Shireen Clement, that I pronounced your name correctly. And
Yes,
she is going to give us information about Augusta University. So, let's give her our attention.
Well, thank you guys for having me today on your bus tour. I love this idea. My name is Shireen Clement. I am the Assistant Director for Student Recruitment at Augusta University, although I am regionally based in Atlanta, Georgia. So in a future world where we can do things together again and it's easy and safe, hopefully I'll get to see you guys and meet you, or as things transition this fall, meeting you at your high schools, hopefully as we start to have college fairs and stuff again. I'm getting excited about that. So this presentation is going to do like a general overview of Augusta University, but of course we'll have time for questions at the end. This presentation is only about 15 to 20 minutes, but we'll talk about academics, student life, and then of course the admissions process. So Augusta University is known as the state of Georgia's designated health sciences excellence institution. So that means a lot of different things. So for one thing, I would talk about the fact that we have the only public medical school in the state of Georgia. So there are a couple other options, but in terms of public medical schools, we're the only one. And then we have the only dental college in the state of Georgia, as well as our top undergraduate majors being nursing, cell and molecular biology, which a lot of students pair with pre-med, and kinesiology. So people do associate us with health sciences. We're very proud of that health sciences designation. But in addition to that, we have 150 other areas of study at the undergraduate, graduate, and professional level. So if you're at AU, we're super excited about medicine. We want to talk to you about medicine, but it's important to know that there's a lot of other options. Notably, cybersecurity is actually in our top 5 most popular majors, and we have an entire campus dedicated to cybersecurity on the Savannah River that our previous governor, Governor Nathan Deal, established for us because he saw Augusta as a cyber hub for the state of Georgia. So that's a growing program, but also one of our top and most popular programs for our undergraduate students. Here you can see all those academic programs by college. We don't list them by majors. That would be a very busy slide, but you can see we have over 150 different majors within all of these colleges. Some other things to note about academics for us, we are one of the 4 Georgia research universities. So if you guys are familiar with Georgia, as you've been researching Georgia, you might realize that there's 26 public schools. 4 of them have the Georgia Research University homogenization. And that just really means that there's a high level of academic rigor, but as well as amazing research happening on those campuses with our professors, but also with our students. So if you have been watching the news for like the past year or so, you might have noticed there's been a lot of obviously news about COVID. And in the background of a lot of those press conferences about COVID, you might have noticed the Augusta University logo, which looks a little bit like this on my t-shirt. And that's because Augusta University spearheaded the state's COVID response. The first tests were actually developed on our campus that were used in Georgia, as well as the image you've seen of COVID, like the wild viral image that's all colorful and looks kind of scary. That was actually drawn by one of the graduates of our medical illustration program. So when I talk about research, it's not just research that happens only in a lab or research that only happens on our campus and never sees the light of day. It's things that are changing our day-to-day lives as Georgian residents, but also as citizens of this country. We do also have a 16:1 student to faculty ratio. I think that's important to highlight. Our average class size is about 22, 23 students, but at Augusta University, we have about 9,000 students overall, and only about 5,000 of those are undergraduate students. So although we're a medium-sized institution, your undergraduate education is going to feel a lot like a small institution because you're really only having about 5,000 students that you're taking classes with. And other research universities, we're the smallest and the most affordable. A little bit about student success. So of course we want you here, but once you're here, we want you to be successful. So there's a lot of things in place on our campus to ensure that our freshmen, students, and as you progress through those degrees, but to ensure that you're going to be successful. Our honors program, students who want a little bit more of a challenge, who really want to be challenged, and not just academically, but even just in subject matter and the way you approach your college work. We have a really great, robust honors program you can apply into. We have a career services office that will help you not only with on-campus jobs while you're there, but also for that job when you do graduate, as well as internship placements. And then study abroad, which everyone sees as a very fun thing, but it's actually extremely enriching to your academics. We have an entire office dedicated to study abroad. We also offer study away programs. So for students who want to get a little bit of a change of scenery, but maybe aren't quite prepared to leave the country yet, we do study away, which is an immersive program in different states of our country, because obviously there's lots of different cultures, even just within the United States, that you can learn about and explore. One thing people really associate with us when it comes to academics are our professional pathway programs. So if you all have questions about this at the end, this is something I'm going to breeze over, but I'm not going to get into crazy specifics, but I'd be willing to answer more questions. These professional pathway programs are for our undergraduate first-time freshman students who apply into Augusta University by the early action deadline with an interest in dental, medicine, or nursing school. And you can apply, and if you meet the minimum requirements for these programs, you get invited to then do a supplementary application that, if selected, you would get to start at Augusta University as a freshman while having held your spot in the nursing program, the Dental College of Georgia, and the Medical College of Georgia. With the nursing program, that's still going to be a 4-year degree. You just have already held your spot in the program, so you're able to progress through as long as you stay on track academically. For medical and dental scholars, that's a 7-year accelerated program where you're completing both your bachelor's degree and then your MD or your DMD, again, in 7 years, and then progressing through the rest of your pathway to become a doctor or dentist. So really great programs, obviously super competitive application processes, and we do have staff dedicated to these programs exclusively to work with students as they apply to them. But again, if you guys want any more details about that, feel free to ask me at the end. Pivoting a little bit away from academics, which are very important, but when you're in college, you're also supposed to be meeting people and growing socially. And I always say, if I have kids and they go to college and I show up to their dorm and there's not free t-shirts and free cups everywhere, I'm going to be mad because I'm going to know they're not going to student life and engagement events. And so at Augusta University, we take student life and engagement super seriously. So like I said, for a campus of 9,000 with only 5,000 undergrads, we have about 176 student organizations, which is a pretty large amount of student organizations. One thing that I'm super proud of on this slide, you can see that this is a 2019 figure because obviously 2020 was a little bit different, but 5,091 students checked into JAG Life events in 1 year. So in 2019, as I mentioned earlier, we only have about 5,000 undergraduate students. So that means the overwhelming majority of our undergraduate students were actually attending events on campus and doing things with our campus community. So those events range from homecoming, athletic events, just anything that kind of happens on campus. So some examples from this year is obviously, again, this year was a little bit different because we had to have events. We wanted people to be engaged, but we had to be safe as well. Most recently in the spring semester, there were flyover tours of Augusta that students could literally sign up for and take a plane ride over the city of Augusta and really see it from the top, which is really cool. There's lots of different things happening in Augusta, from our downtown area to our rivers. We'll talk about that later. our homecoming week, which was a little bit different again this year, but we started it with the fireworks display. So no matter where you were at on campus, you got to see those fireworks. You could be with your pod of people, you could be in your dorm, you could be on our Somerville campus and still get to engage and celebrate homecoming. So there's different events like that all the time throughout campus. You get emailed about them. They're on bulletin boards everywhere that you can really participate in. In addition to those types of events, we have intramural sports. So if you like playing sports, but maybe you're not the most competitive person, like you want to play table tennis or you want to play basketball with your friends, that's a great way to sign up to do those intramural sports. We have club sports. So, if you are very competitive about a sport, like for instance, I played volleyball all through high school, was not going to play at the Division I level, but I wanted to continue to play at a competitive level. So I played club sports with a team of students who had tried out to be on the team. We traveled to play other schools, but it was very competitive, but not all of my time was given to that. We also have both Division I and Division II sports on our campus. Last but not least, in our housing, we do have living learning communities for students. So if you're interested in some specific topics, specific majors, you can apply to be in those living learning communities. Here are some other examples of organizations on our campus. So Greek life, religious organizations, just for fun organizations, community, you can have professional organizations, really running the gamut of any type that you might be interested in. And if y'all would like, at the end, I can share a link just to a list of our most active organizations on our campus right now. Student support service is, again, a very important service for students. I find that parents like to hear about this more than students when I'm talking with them, but these are the things on our campus that make sure that although you're doing well academically, that you're staying mentally and emotionally and physically healthy. So ranging from our student health center. So if you're feeling a little ill, want to be checked out, you can always go by there and make sure that you're feeling healthy. Testing center, our ability services, if you need help with anything to do with the way you approach your classroom, as well as our academic success center, which offers free tutoring to students. So you're able to go there if you just need study skills help. We also have a writing center, which I love because I always feel like I'm a great writer, but I always want someone to check to make sure like I put my commas in the right place, which sounds silly, but you want to make sure you're doing that kind of stuff correctly. So you can even just upload your paper and have someone review it and send it back to you with edits. It doesn't even require you leaving your dorm room. So lots of things on our campus to make sure that you're happy, healthy, and that you're progressing through your degree correctly. I touched a little bit on housing in our living learning communities earlier, but we do have freshman residence halls, of course. We do not require our freshmen live on campus, and that's something that's a little bit different about Augusta University. What I will say is most out of area students, the students I work with from the greater Atlanta area, do choose to live on campus, especially for that first year while they're still understanding Augusta, figuring out where students live and what's the best part of town that they want to be in. But our freshman residence halls are located on our health sciences campus. So they're right across from the hospitals, which is nice if that is your goal. You get to wake up every day and see people going into work or professional students going into schools. Our residence halls are Oak Hall and Elm Hall for freshman students. Majority of them live in Oak Hall, and they're semi-private and private suites. So either you're sharing a bedroom like this with a shared common area and a shared bathroom, or you're in a room by yourself with a shared common area and someone else in an adjoining room. Again, you're only sharing a bathroom with people in your suite. There's no bathrooms at the end of the hall situation. In Oak Hall, there's kitchens on every other floor and study rooms and free laundry. In Elm Hall, it's more studio apartment style, and usually it's reserved for some specific living learning communities, but there are kitchens in each individual unit. So for us, as soon as you're admitted, you can start to apply for housing. Earlier is better because when they go to assign people to locations, like say you know that you want your own bedroom, the earlier you apply, the more likely you're going to get that floor plan you desire. A little bit about the city of Augusta. Augusta is the second oldest city in the state of Georgia. I think it's like Georgia's best kept secret because a lot of times people think about Atlanta, they think about Savannah, but Augusta doesn't get talked about as much. But again, so we're second largest to the city of Atlanta and second oldest to the city of Savannah. And if you've been to Augusta, you might have feel this way, but I always feel like it's like if Savannah and Atlanta had a baby, they would have birthed Augusta. So there's a very nice downtown area, lots of restaurants, study places if you want a cafe, just really, really cute area. Right along the Savannah River, if you want to go kayaking or paddleboarding or just hiking along the river, you can do that. And you can actually borrow equipment from our campus. And then the other thing about Augusta is although you have that feeling of a college town when you're on our campus and in certain parts of the town, you still have a city behind you. So there's Targets, there's an Apple store, we have a whole shopping mall, we have a Costco. And I know that sounds silly, but where I went to college, all I had was a Walmart for the majority of my time there. And I love Walmart, honestly. But sometimes you want to go to a Target, you want to grab some towels and you want to, go shopping and grab a dress for something. And in Augusta, you'll be able to do that without having to leave the city. So moving into the freshman admissions requirements. So obviously for the class of this graduating class, we were test optional. Moving forward, the state of Georgia's public schools are not test optional. So all upcoming semesters after fall 2021, we will be requiring the SAT and ACT. As you can see here, our average incoming freshman has a 3.5 GPA, an 1120 SAT, or a 23 on the ACT. But if you're looking at the minimum requirements, the freshman index is the best indicator of if a student's going to be admissible. The freshman index is just a very large equation where it takes your GPA and your test scores into account. And we require a minimum 2240 on that. We will calculate that for you if you apply. So there's no need to be doing all that math unless you do want to do it to see where you stand. Last but not least, you can see that there's some minimum requirements underneath the freshman index, and that SAT for 480 evidence-based reading and writing, 440 math, and then the ACT 17 English or reading and 17 math. Those are the University System of Georgia's minimum requirements, and they do have to meet those minimum requirements on test subscores, but meeting those does not guarantee you'll be admitted. So again, the freshman index is the best indicator for Augusta University if you're trying to determine if you could be admitted. I'm going to assume that since all of y'all are from Metro Atlanta, that you're not looking to dual enroll at Augusta, and there's tons of great schools that dual enroll here. And as long as you're dual enrolling at a University System of Georgia school, those credits are going to transfer very seamlessly. But if you do dual enroll and you're wondering, will they take my credits? I guess, yes, we will. All you need to do is submit your transcript from the school that you dual enrolled. So there's some of you that maybe your high school lists those classes on the final transcript at high school, but we still need them from the college before you enroll at AU, and we will get those credits applied, and then you'll be able to move forward with your degree at Augusta University. I'm not sure if there's any transfer students. I think that we discussed there might be some transfer students or some non-traditional students, but our transfer admissions process is quite straightforward. If you are a true transfer, that means you have 30 transferable credit hours. So usually it's about a year of coursework at a college. You would submit all your collegiate coursework. You have to have a minimum 2.3 GPA to transfer into Augusta University. That does not mean that a 2.3 GPA would get you into the nursing program or dental hygiene program or all those various capacity limited programs. So that's a whole other admissions process that you would take on if you were looking for those as a transfer. But to be transferring to AU solely, that is the requirements. If you had started college, but maybe didn't get to quite to the 30 credit hours, we could still evaluate you, but we'll look at both your college coursework and your high school coursework. So we'll need that high school transcript still. We will request that once we look at everything if we do need that from you. And again, you still need that minimum 2.3 GPA in your college coursework. And for high school, you'll have to meet the high school requirements of the term you're applying for. Application process, we try to make it super straightforward. Our application is housed fully online on the Common App and on Georgia Features. We do not have a preference. They're the same application for us. So either way you apply, once you do that, you'll get access to a status check portal that'll show you everything we need from you. Usually that's high school transcripts or college transcripts and your test scores from SAT or ACT. The transcripts need to be official, meaning they come directly from your school to us. If you've touched them or seen them, likely they're not official, so make sure they're coming directly from there. And then your test score reports, again, directly from from College Board or ACT to count as official. We collect all that information. Your decision will be posted first on that online portal where you can check your status, but we still do send things out in the mail. That little timeline here, so you can see that as we're moving through the summer, we're about to restart that timeline for admissions. Our application opens every year in early August, usually that first Monday of August, but if you're in our system, you'll get an email kind of alerting you that the application is open. We always want to highlight October 1st because that's when the FAFSA opens. Fill out the FAFSA early, get it done, you get it off your checklist, you can list up to 10 schools on your FAFSA. So if you're still making a decision, and applying to 10 schools would be a lot, but say you're applying to 10 schools and you still don't know where you're going and you might not know in October, you can list them all and all of us will have your information to be able to write you a financial aid offer letter in the spring. Our early action deadline is November 15th. After that, we move to a rolling decisions process. So nothing closes on that day, but it's kind of like once you submit all your information, we'll get back to you on a rolling basis, whereas students who apply by early action will get their decision in early December. Again, if students are interested in that professional scholars program that we talked about earlier, you have to apply by November 15th to be considered for that. February 1st is our scholarship deadline, and that is probably the most important deadline because it's early, and a lot of times students wait until now to ask me about scholarships, and unfortunately that deadline is passed. There's not more scholarships from Augusta University for you. So if you're interested in Augusta University, please keep note of that date to make sure you're filling out your scholarship application, and you have to be admitted before you can complete that scholarship application. So another reason to apply early. May 1st is our deposit deadline and our priority housing deadline. So that means on May 1st, if you know that Augusta University is a place for you, you let us know that by completing a form on your application portal and then submitting a $200 enrollment deposit. And that goes towards your overall cost of admission. So overall cost of tuition. So you're paying $200 on May 1st. Your fall bill when you come into the university will be $200 cheaper because you kind of paid towards that. Also, you want to have applied by housing by then because the first round of housing assignments go out shortly after that. So if you want to know where you're living early, good idea to make sure that the housing application is in by May 1st. It's important to know also that if students apply with an application fee waiver from College Board or ACT or NACAC, likely you might be eligible for a deposit waiver, but you need to reach out to your admissions counselor to start that process. But don't be afraid to ask those questions. That's what we're here for 24/7 to make sure that you understand the admissions process and that you can move through it quite easily. July 1st is our final deadline. This year it's a little bit different. We're trying to be super, I guess, empathetic is the wrong word, but flexible with students because we know plans are still changing, things are moving, still due to the pandemic. So we're allowing students to still apply. This year, normally July 1st is when we would stop that because our classes form. So moving forward into you guys who are graduating in 2022, make sure you're applying early, getting your scholarship application, your housing application, and that deposit in all before July 1st. That way we know what we need to get from you so you can move forward in your time at Augusta University. Here you can see all of our admission social media. Definitely give us a follow if you want to stay up to date with what's happening on campus. We usually will post about deadlines on here, but also fun facts about the school. If there's a special event happening on campus, like our preview days, or in fact, if we're coming up to do special events in Atlanta, because normally throughout the year, we'll do some preview events where y'all don't have to drive to Augusta. We'll be closer to you and you can come learn more about the school and meet us as well. You can also visit our campus. We still do have in-person visits. They're every weekday. And if you go on our visit website, you can actually sign up for a date to come. Right now, we're still capping those visits at a smaller number just to be safe, but likely in the fall, they'll start to expand to be slightly bigger, back to the norm of what we used to have in terms of visit size. So we'd love to have you on campus to come see what we have to offer. I think seeing Augusta and getting to spend time on our campus is probably the best way to make a decision about where you want to go to school. And that is all I have for y'all today. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And then I guess if there are any questions, y'all, I'm not sure the process for questions, but if you want to post them in the chat, or I'm not sure if you're supposed to write them to Ms. Calhoun, but I'm happy to answer them.
They can unmute themselves and ask the question or place it in the chat box.
Hey, so I have a question. My little brother, he is a junior in high school now. And so when you said about the waivers for the SAT, like I got to do that in school, but so you're saying that colleges, they will admit, like they'll do that for you if you ask, like they'll waive the fee to apply?
Yeah, so a lot of times if you're eligible for like a fee waiver, like if you did not pay to take the SAT or ACT, a lot of times you are eligible for, and this is not just true for Augusta, right? It's true for tons of schools. You're eligible to waive your application fee. And a lot of times you're also eligible to waive if they have enrollment deposits. So it's one of those things that sometimes schools have it on their website, sometimes they don't. So it's always good to ask, I think. If your little brother or you apply to a college using Common App, a lot of times on Common App, they will ask you, hey, are you eligible for a fee waiver? If you say yes to that, your high school counselor who you list will then get an email saying, hey, is Shireen eligible for a fee waiver? And if they say yes, a lot of times your application fee is automatically waived just from that. So it's a good idea to just call the schools you're interested in and ask their process, because every school's a little bit different, but to ask their process, because those fees add up. So make sure you're reaching out.
Right. Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Shireen, in that same vein of what Anaja asked about the fee waiver, my internet is unsteady, so I don't know that I heard you correctly about the fee waiver possibly going towards housing deposit.
I didn't say anything about the housing deposit. It's okay. But I was talking about our enrollment deposit. That being said, a lot of times, if a student is eligible for both an application fee waiver and an SAT fee waiver, schools have things in place, but a lot of times it takes asking the question first. Yeah. So look at that with, I would say, housing and orientation fees. It's good to ask those questions. Ooh, how are roommates assigned? That's a great question, Aaliyah. So at Augusta University, we assign roommates two ways. So if you are coming to college and you know that my best friend's also coming to Augusta University and we want to live together, you guys can request each other as roommates in the housing application process. And then boom, bam, you both wrote each other's names, so you're rooming together. If you don't do that and you want to be assigned, through another way, we do a roommate matching system. So on the application, you also answer lifestyle questions. So like when you wake up, when you go to sleep, do you study in your room? Do you study in, a library? Those types of things, which seem kind of simple, but important if you're sharing a space with someone. And then our system will look at everyone's answers, and then they will do their best to only match students who have an 85% or higher compatibility. And so that's how the random assignments work. And then over the summer, whenever you get your assignment, depending on when you apply, you'll get that person's name that you are rooming with and be able to start talking to them about, who's bringing what, how you want to decorate, all those great things.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great question.
Is the COVID vaccine a requirement to attend Augusta University?
No, ma'am. So no public school in Georgia has made it a requirement yet. I don't know what that will look like moving forward into the next year, but as of right now, no. We are administering the vaccine on our campus if someone wants it, though. So if you do want the vaccine coming into college, we do administer it through our hospitals.
So how does it look on campus in the age of COVID? And of course, there were some restrictions or what have you. So with a new freshman, an incoming freshman in a pandemic, how does that look? How are you making sure that students are protected in the dorms? Are they required to wear masks in class? How do they handle the classes? Are they online? And all of that. So
this past year, so like the 2019 to 2020 to 21 school year, sorry. Yes, the answer to all your questions is yes. So a lot of our classes moved online, or they were hybrid in a sense that like maybe the class was split up and you met on certain days and the other half met on other days, different things to make sure they were limiting the interactions. Masks were required, and really everything was sanitized. There were sanitizing options within every classroom if you were in there. And then all desks were moved to be socially distanced. One thing that's good about Augusta though is it's not a big school. So you weren't stuck in a lecture hall with 500 people. That's like not a reality at Augusta University. Moving into this year, the governor of Georgia has stated that we are meant to go back to normal. And so we are going back to normal. We are not requiring masks of our students going into fall as of right now. Students are obviously free to wear them, and they do suggest that you wear them if you are not vaccinated. But per the state's instructions, all public schools are meant to go back to normal instruction. So we'll be in person fully. I think that students who are starting this fall, move-in might be a little different for them still. I think they're still gonna probably do a staggered move-in instead of doing, everyone show up on Saturday and run around in the heat and all try to get on the elevators together. I think that's gonna still be staggered because that's overwhelming no matter what, but it's definitely gonna be overwhelming this summer. But in terms of class instruction, things are going back to normal. Is it easy to get around campus or get off campus without a car? Around campus, yes, because we have a very, very good bus route that goes in between all of our different campuses, and you can see when the bus is coming on an app. So you can tell like, oh, I want to walk outside right now because the bus is 1 minute away. You can also call a bus on the app. So if there's a bus that's just like, in the between maybe lollygagging, you can call them over and they can get on there. You can get on there pretty easily. Most all freshmen, all their courses are on the Somerville campus, which is what is behind me in this beautiful picture. No building is more than 4 minutes away walking. Even if you're like walking very slowly, you can get everywhere pretty quickly. Off campus, I would say Augusta as a city does not have its own public transit. So I think if you were trying to get off campus to like do a heavy grocery shopping trip or something like that, then you might want to have a car. But I know for me, I didn't have a car my freshman year of college. I just had friends with cars. And when they went grocery shopping, I went grocery shopping. And that tends to be kind of what's going on here. But again, if you're on campus, you have a meal plan, you don't have to leave campus to get food or anything like that. It's just kind of if you want to. It'd be nice to have a car to get to some of the other cool places around Augusta.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do many students have like an on-campus job, or do you have to be approved for work study, or is it easy to find a part-time job on campus?
Great question. So yes, many students have on-campus jobs. You don't have to be approved for work study to get an on-campus job, but essentially how work study works on most campuses is that every office gets like a certain amount of students who can be work study to work for them and a certain amount of students who don't have to be work study to work for them. And it's kind of tiered off that way. the minute you're admitted to Augusta University, you get access to your student email. So we don't hold that from you. And a lot of schools, sometimes you don't see it till orientation. And when you get access to that student email and your student account, you can set up your career services account. And they use an application tool called Handshake. And you can begin applying to on-campus jobs via Handshake over the summer. Before that, honestly, even if you really are, wanting an on-campus job. Again, if you want a job off campus, our career services helps with that. I would say outside of like on-campus jobs, I know in the admissions office, we probably have 5 or 6 student workers that work, at our front desk helping with that. But every year we have the Masters tournament in Augusta. I don't know if you guys are super into I was not into the Masters tournament when I was your age, but it's the largest golf tournament in the world. And it comes to Augusta every year. To me, I don't really care about golf. I love celebrities, and celebrities all show up because celebrities like watching golf. It's like a little rich person activity, I guess. It's not really for me, but students work the Masters tournament. And actually the Augusta National, which is the golf course that hosts it, hires almost exclusively Augusta University students for that event. So if you're looking for a job, maybe you're not working all year, but you want to bank some money really quickly before you're going on summer break or doing any other activities, you can always work that. And we actually pause our classes during the Masters tournament. So you're not having classroom responsibility then. You might have some assignments you should work on, but our classes don't meet during that tournament every year. So a lot of times students will work that. But yes, if you want a student job, I would say earlier is better, start connecting with people on campus, but you do not have to be work study to work on campus.
Athletes who are interested in
Sorry.
playing. Can you hear me? My internet's
Yes.
unstable. I apologize.
No, I hear you now.
Athletic recruitment.
That runs completely separately than our office. They try to have us not really have too many hands in it. We do have Division I, Division II sports though. So our Division I sports are golf. So I should say that. The rest of them are Division II sports. The athletic contact information is on our athletic website. So if you do want to reach out, as long as it's, an open time to be reaching out, you can, to learn more about the process. But that doesn't really run through admissions at all, with the exception of us letting coaches know that a student is admitted. So I'm sorry, I don't have more details about that. I would say basketball is our most popular sport. Not that anyone
I heard you say you were D1 and
I heard you, I think. Yes.
I heard you say earlier about D1 and D2, but I was wondering how. Can you hear me now?
You're going in and out a little bit, but I think you're asking how are we both D1 and D2? Our golf team is D1 in national championships. The rest of our sports are Division II. So I don't know if there's a legality to that I'm not sure about, but that's how that works. It's just some of that team is D1 specifically, whereas the rest are D2. Leah, I'm posting in the chat just because I think it's easier for me to send you that link. And there's actually videos of both Elm and Oak Hall, which are the 2 residence halls I was talking about in the information session. So you can see kind of walk through videos of what those look like. Because it's better than me describing it poorly, I would say. So if you want to see that up close, you can.
For students who had an IEP or 504 plan in high school, what supports are available for them and how do they go about getting those accommodations?
Yeah, once a student's admitted, they can put any of their accommodations on record with our Testing and Disability Services office. And that office then communicates with their professors. Like if it's that a student needs extra test time or they need to take their tests in a different location on campus, there's lots of different ones. Or if they don't, I know I used to be a graduate assistant when I was younger, and I had students who didn't take tests on Scantrons. They needed to have the physical test to bubble in there. Any of those things get communicated to the professors, and then the professors work with the student to make the best accommodation. So sometimes that means you're going to take it in the academic success center, because that's a different space that has closed off spaces, or come and take it during the professor's office hours, whatever works best. I always tell students, I think it's important to advocate for yourself still in that situation. Yes, an office is meant to be communicating, but I think put a face to a name, make sure they know who you are, because you never know. how important it is to have those connections, but that's how we handle it. So we have our office that they put it on record with. So there's something formal in place, and then that gets communicated based on the student's schedule.
Any other questions?
Well, I'm going to post in the chat just in case you guys are interested. This is a link to our information request form. So if you did want to complete that because you want to be on our mailing list to know kind of what's going on campus, special events that are happening, reminders, you can always complete that and that'll get you on that mailing list. And then again, I hope to see some of you all this fall. I know y'all are all in different schools, but hopefully things work out. I'm able to leave my house and meet students this year.
Well, thank you so much. If there are no other questions, I want to just, again, my internet is stable enough that you're able to hear me without it being spotty. But we want you to join us back right 6:30 to University of Alabama and to University. So I hope that this information that you have been able to hear today has been beneficial. If you have questions, I am posting my information. So there's my phone number and my website. Any questions for me or need any assistance with helping to understand this navigating your way through the college admissions process, I'm here for you. Thank you for spending your evening with us on our inaugural virtual bus tour. We look forward to speaking to you soon, and we hope to see you back next week, same time, same place, same link.
Thank you.
Thank you.